This is a point where y'all need to step up and stop Gumby. If y'all really don't mean any harm, and it's already been a lot of harm done to Texas on Gumby's behalf, this is a time that we ask y'all as big brothers to step up. Hey, man, y'all need to stop Gumby. Y'all need to speak out because y'all know what Gumby is doing is not right. We never want to go Hoover against Hoover. If Hoover is Hoover over everything, then this, what Gumby is preaching, is wrong.
Prison Stories 101. Man, we got him back, man. I want to call him the Prison Stories Martin Luther King, man. Because the way you kicked it off on this channel and the way all the audience members gravitated towards your conjecture, the way you say things,
right?
It's been a blessing, man. So we got him back man. OG Kunta, man. What's good?
Man, what's good, family? First of all, shout out to Prison Stories 101. This is my guy Joker, man. We've been acquainted for quite a while now. You've been sprinkling me with game, and as you can see, I've been applying, pressure. I've been applying it, all the whispers that you've actually put in my ear, like, hey, do it this way. Hey, Kunta, I want to first of all say I appreciate you, bro, for being somebody that's a monumental, person that's actually pressed the line as far as where, the truth is concerned. There's a silver lining between the lies and the truth. You know what I'm saying? And some of these guys on here, they promote the lies, but some people promote the truth. And I respect your channel, bro, as being somebody that never plays sides.
Yeah.
You never played sides, bro. You always was looking for the truth, The truth is always somebody that's neutral. The truth will be revealed to somebody that's in a neutral position. The truth will not be revealed to a person that's vindicated by lies.
Yeah, blind.
Exactly. And the truth may be oblivious to a person that's blinded by the light.
Yeah.
You see, you got people who are blinded by darkness, and then you also got people who are blinded by light.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you got the blind leading the blind.
Come on, bars. He already getting started. I have to ask because, yes, last time you came, you have had a sensational internet presence since the last time you sat down. And yeah, we did talk, and I was trying to give you a little game about how far you can move in this. What was your mentality over all this? Because again, from you coming on Street Stars with running everybody, from you doing this, it's like now your name is almost like a household name now. It's like you went on a crusade or something, if you could say, or what's been going on?
Okay, well, I think one of the most powerful nuggets that you dropped on me, bro, that kind of reminded me of my purpose, was when you told me to, hey, man, keep doing you.
Yeah.
Keep your energy, Kunta, your energy. You say, Kunta, your energy is live. And, bro, if you keep this energy up, bro, you're going to get noticed. You told me that.
Facts. And
that was probably the most powerful thing that resonated in my energy. You know what I'm saying? Because really, that, DNA, RNA, how this works is remembrance.
Yeah.
The most powerful thing that you can ever do is be a master of remembering. See, DNA and RNA is based off of the genetic codes. When we lock into the pineal gland and the calcification of the pineal gland, it's actually the calcification of the telomeres. And when the telomeres are calcified, there's no growth.
Yeah, man.
You see? Man. So I locked in, bro. You know what I'm saying? And first order of business is I decalcified my pineal gland, which decalcified my telomeres, which gave my motor neurons, you know what I'm saying, a definite purpose, you see. My definite purpose is to basically be, the terror that flaps in the night.
Man, come on. Oh, man, come on. He said the terror that flaps in the night.
Yeah, the terror that flaps in the night for the lies, the weak ideas, and the wrong thinking.
Yeah.
Because see, we got, we play with this narrative on this internet all the time. That's the first thing we do as, content creators is we twist the narrative,
Control narratives.
We control.
Yeah.
controlling the narrative is a pious statement. Twisting it is a wicked statement. We're not talking about the people who understand how to control the narrative, because that's an architect.
Yeah. Yeah.
And an architect understands exactly the grand design, the grandioso design of whatever structure that's under appeal.
Correct. They see the end game.
When you twist the narrative, you are manipulating the foundation.
Correct.
See, you are manipulating the foundation for a wicked purpose.
Yeah, that's a chaos. You're creating chaos.
Pushing chaos. You pushing a narrative that will cause bloodshed, first and foremost. You pushing a narrative that will cause confusion and great divide.
Yeah.
And that's not it. And that's not what I'm on. I've never been on the narrative that cause great divide. I've always pushed peace. I've always pushed unity. I've always pushed collective effort.
Yeah.
And that's what I stand on. I'm not here to promote gangs. You hear me?
But
I'm go ahead, bro.
I'm about to say, but we do got to talk about it.
Yeah, we got to talk about it. Why we got to talk about it is because it's done got to a point to where it's too much of a misunderstanding.
Before we have that conversation, of course, this is Prison Stories 101, and I got to ask you, when someone says prison rules in effect, what does that actually mean?
That means that there are rules that transcend prison into the free world. They transcend from when you was locked up, and they apply to right now where you at. Because a lot of times when you're around people who have been in prison rules are in effect. Even if you're not around people that have been to prison, still prison rules are in effect, because you've never really been around people who have not been in prison. If you've been in prison, you've been there for a long time. So you have to be a certain way around people who are not from prison. And then when you're around people who are from prison, you also have to be a certain way, because at that point, prison rules are in effect. You see?
Yeah.
Prison rules don't apply to people who ain't been to prison.
Yeah.
Prison rules apply to people who have been to prison.
So technically, you don't expect a free man to know exactly what that means,
right,
who ain't ever touched foot in the
So
penitentiary.
when you hear a civilian say, when you hear somebody say prison rules in effect, they talking to everybody that's been down. They talking to everybody that's actually did some calendar years behind bars and know the rules and the structure. Because everybody that did time behind did calendar years behind bars, don't even observe or respect prison rules. You got a lot of people down there that are just stupid, and they don't follow rules, But the people who know, the people who care, prison rules are in effect.
Would you say it's stupid, or would you say it's ignorance?
I would say it's ignorance.
Sometimes they just need to be taught.
No, you in an environment where you're supposed to learn, but you shut down because you are rebellious. And rebellion is what stops the execution of enlightenment. Rebellion stops that. A lot of times we have been programmed generationally in a defective way to not accept the truth.
Yeah.
We've been programmed to go for the lies, the weak ideas and the wrong thinking, and we will turn the volume down on the truth. We do. Black people do this.
Come on.
Yeah.
All right, so we're here to have a conversation, man. There's been some misunderstanding as far as the origination or the gang rules or the gang life that's in prison from, and I'm gonna start with this California, Texas thing. Of course, the California penal system is different from the Texas penal system.
Of course.
Two different worlds, but yet,
two different worlds.
Some of the guys who have been incarcerated have been put in for some of the same things. And when it comes to this gang life, it seems that there's been a divide between Cali and Texas. Now, Kunta, I want you to be able to speak on this, because this goes beyond even prison stories, but
exactly,
it does have some prison stories essence to it, because things start in prison.
I want to take you to prison first.
Let's go.
You know what I'm saying? We're going to prison. You know what I'm saying? We're going in 1997. When I first encountered a GC, a 5 Deuce Hoover gangster crip. Now, of course, at that point in time, Hoover, HCGs were the majority. And GC was the minority, you know.
Which one came first? Just for clarification.
In Texas, HCG came first.
Okay.
Not GC.
Okay.
HGC is the prominent set here. I mean, HCG is the prominent set. GC is the secondary because this came after the homies started coming with the right logic. They came and they put, you know, the homies in H-Town down. There's a lot of GCs in H-Town. I mean, it's a small faction of GCs in Fort Worth. You hear me? It is. And, I'm not disrespecting them because I'm not here to disrespect Hoover at all. You know, this is that the moral of the story is that Hoover should never be divided, ever. And that's a law. Like, no Hoover is supposed to be against a Hoover. But when you got people who come in for clout, who come in for likes and clicks, and they on some Pooh Shiesty madness, you know. They got the whole hidden agenda of causing division, you see. And this is in the name of clout. Like, this is the saddest thing is that where we are now with it is been all behind clout, not behind getting to the bottom line and coming up with a solution.
So, go ahead, please.
Let me go to the prison. Let me take you to prison.
Take us back.
I'm speaking this because I want the collective to hear me.
There you go.
Because they don't understand that I'm really I'm Long Ranger. And my reach is really okay, y'all say what you want, but on guard, I'm really I'm Long Ranger. So my reach is I'm a Ranger. I'm gonna reach you. I'm a Hoover. I'm gonna reach you. And I'm reaching out to all the Hoovers so y'all will understand that this is a misunderstanding that can simply be solved, you know. For where we are now with it, we look like fools, you know. So anyway, in prison, I counted them in 1997. I encountered the GCs. And they came in, and when they came into the system, it was some friction. You know, it was the Hoovers, the HCGs didn't believe that they even existed because we never been to Cali. You know, a lot of us never been to Cali. I mean, I've been to Cali, but a lot of my homies never been. So they didn't know that GCs would exist. I didn't know because at this point, I didn't go to Cali. You hear me? I went to Cali later, you know, and found out that, that the GCs truly existed. But I accepted it when they came in to the system and they said that we are GCs. We're Hoover, 5 Deuce Hoover, GCs. I'm not one of the people that said, no, y'all not, and there ain't no such thing, let's wipe them out. Now, if the Hoovers, HCG was so big, if we wanted to, we could have wiped the HGCs out. We could have wiped them out in prison, and we did not do that because Hoover is Hoover. And that's the law, you know. And we live entirely by that in Texas, that Hoovers is Hoovers. So the GCs have been down here for quite a period of time now, and there's never really been no friction. And then let's get into some decent facts. So when I ran into these homies and they had this friction, there was a lot of people that was like, let's wipe them out. But that would have made us look stupid in front of these homies if they big homies find out that we did this. See, this also stems back to a lie that Percy was telling on the internet. See, Percy, I don't mean to bring him up, but Percy was cloud chasing on the internet, talking about he was down there in TDC persecuting the GCs, and that's a lie. Everybody on Ferguson will tell you that he lying. Everybody that's been on Ferguson 2010 and beyond, like all the way to 1995, 1994, they will tell you that's not the case. This dude is lying. He's dry lying, and I'm not trying to make him, because, people got their narratives, and when you can play with the narrative, you can lie. You can lie. That's another thing about playing with the narrative, that you can lie. And Percy played with the narrative, and he lied about what was happening to the GCs down there in Texas. And we was not down here in Texas persecuting the GCs. We were not doing that.
Maybe he's talking about one situation, maybe. I don't know.
Even when you talk about one situation, that's not enough for you to actually press the issue like he pressed it. See, he pressed the issue like we was roughing and we was handling them. And we wasn't doing that because Hoover is Hoover. And that is a law that has been in Texas since the establishment of Hoover. We never made a distinction between none of the Hoovers. We all embraced ourselves in a collective way that was respect and love. So we was never, oh no, we gonna smoke, we gonna, Now, of course, the misunderstanding, though, the misunderstanding did exist because, we had to have like homies from Cali to tell us, because it was a lot of homies that was in Texas prisons that was from Cali, and they wasn't Hoovers.
Yeah.
But they would tell us, yeah, they are that down there. Mm-hmm. So y'all pushing something different, but this is what it is in Cali.
But that wasn't your issue.
No, it was never my issue.
Yeah.
My issue was the bullying scenario. Gumby. Let's get to, hold on, because we need to get to Gumby.
Let's go.
Because see, Gumby, and I say this, and I'm not calling you out your name because I'm being respectful, because I'm for a bigger, shade of audience.
Yeah, you was calling him something else, but
Scumby. I was calling him Scumby.
I heard that. I heard when you did that.
Now I'm gonna respect him and say Gumby, because I don't mean no disrespect to the non-deuces. I don't mean no disrespect to California. I think that this is a problem that needs to be put to bed because it's got to the point where people who don't really understand that this is content have taken outside of content. They want to go to a street level with this. And at this level, it's dangerous. It's dangerous for Texas. And then you got to look at it like this. You got people who come from California, they come to Texas. It's cheaper here. It's cheaper here. The standards of living up there is high. Standards of living here is low. So a lot of the big homies that's over there, they eventually probably gonna retire here in Texas. So this is why this problem has to stop because, we can't have bad relations between Texas, Louisiana, or California because the Hoovers are everywhere. And we can't have that. And for us to even think or to try to want to be on that level is that's like petty, Yeah. And I stand at the forefront.
Like Gumby was on this platform as well. Percy was on this platform.
Yeah.
Gumby did his time in Cali. You did your time out here in
Texas.
You you have to at least respect the fact that he did it from coming up in Cali in the gang system to doing it in the Cali penal system. Y'all live two separate lives, you can kind of say.
I want to get into that. And this is what I want them to understand. That we don't bang Hoover Street. We don't. It's impossible for somebody from Texas to bang a street that's 1,000 miles away. So they wonder why we HCG because we realize that being HCG will connect us to Hoover and not to the street because we bang our own streets here.
Did y'all change the spelling of it?
We did change the spelling too.
Was it because that street?
No, because of that. We changed it to HOOVA and not HOOVER. And this is where this is going. Now, if y'all want us to represent HOOVR, then y'all can't question us about being HCG because the Five Deuce Hoovers was HCG before they merged with Broadway and became GCs. You hear me? Before they became GCs. And I talked to a brother that's a powerful brother in Hoover. You hear me?
Yeah.
And he told me that. He said that he was there when the Five Deuces and the Sevenfolds and all the rest of the Hoover family met on the beach in California to make Five Deuce be accepted as GCs. What makes HCG any different from that era? And this is where it's going. Because we got to look at the black disciples and the black gangster disciples, you hear me?
Yeah.
The black gangster disciples and the gangster disciples separated. They are the same, right? And now you got black gangster disciples and gangster disciples. Now, if the brothers from Cali, the elders, don't step up and stop Gumby from what he is doing with this irritation as far as what he done started, it's gonna come to a separation point just like it did with the GDs and the BGDs.
What did Gumby start though? Like what?
Okay, now we gonna look into the, because this is the scumbag, this is the scumbag matinee right now,
Yeah, I heard he just disrespected just Fort Worth.
Right. Gumby started out disrespecting HCG.
Oh, okay.
He started out with that. He got together with Real Tunes. And he said, he got on the airwaves and he said that they were going to groove on us for being HCG. Now, how you going to groove on us if we bigger than y'all? You got to make it, the math ain't mathing, brother, for you to sit here and tell a state as big as Texas that y'all going to groove on us. That didn't make sense. I really wasn't bothered by it. I was bothered by the fact that they had the audacity to tell me that my life ain't real. You sitting here talking to a man who has served Hoover for 38 years. And you tell me my life ain't real? You tell all these Hoovers in Texas that their life ain't real, and we supposed to eat that up and swallow it. No, you don't get to do that. Because see, this is the way it works. If there was a problem, that problem should have been addressed a long time ago. You see?
By who? It seems like you were mentioning with the Hoover Discord that somebody above the Hoovers, I mean, is there like not an OG stats above just in the Crip faction that could come in and situate all that? Like, hey, we're gonna have a sit down, we're gonna get this, we're gonna politic and get all this.
And right. That's where we are now. And we've already done that. Now, Gumby is a sore faction. Gumby is the people, he represents the class in Cali that want to rebel against what is right. See, you have a certain brand of people in California who hate Texas. And Gumby, being a mass manipulator, have identified with the people who hate Texas. And he actually have made them hate Fort Worth. This is called commiserating. Gaslit logic commiserating. He has basically, through a hornet's nest of commisery on Fort Worth. And guess what? Fort Worth is not the only place where Hoover Crip is. Five Deuce Hoover Crip is in Texas. But for some reason, Fort Worth has took the blow. We have taken the main blow for being HCG. Guess what? We're not gangbangers, we killers. That's the difference.
Check the resume, huh?
Yeah, check the resume. We stop gangbanging. We're killers in Fort Worth. We're not just running around gangbanging, driving from street to street, trying to kill black people. That's not how we move. This is an open carry state on me. So that ought to tell you our resume. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody that's cripping ain't breaking the laws no more, but they still got a lot of guns. You see? So for these dudes to think that we are soft, or we could be bullied, that's a mistake. And then when you elect somebody to come down here, choose somebody who would use sugar rather than shit.
Yeah.
So this dude that came down here, he came down here with shit as the bait for flies rather than sugar. And that was his mistake, Because when you come down here and you're trying to talk reason, there's a level of humility that you're supposed to have. You can't come down here as some stupid orangutan pulling shit out of your rear end and throwing it on everybody, telling everybody that they're wrong. Nobody's gonna go for you throwing poop on them. Nobody's going for that.
But when it comes to age, and I don't mean age like how old you are, but your age in the game, basically someone who's, let's say, one of the founders telling you, hey, this is the way it's supposed to be. Is there a way to respectfully say no? Is it a way to say, nah, we
I've already respectfully said no.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, I mean, was that not taken lightly? Or
no, I don't know how they took it. But as for being a Hoover Crip, HCG, I'm the biggest no. And I represent everybody that will not change and will not switch. And I said no for every last one of those people. To everybody who don't understand what the word no was. That's what we said, and that's what we will stand stiffly at it. You see, history repeats itself. And history has repeated itself because we will not change what we are. And I'm not promoting gangs. You see, I'm not in this to promote no gangs. I'm not promoting gangs. I'm promoting redemption. I'm promoting, hey, Crips, benefit the community because you've been benefiting from the community. Why not be a benefit to the community? That's what I promote. You know.
So why not play ball? Why not change or switch up, or if they ask and do?
We won't.
I mean, isn't that harmony though?
That's not harmony. Because if that's the case, everybody that died
in the
name of will be dead in vain. We got too many people that's in the cemetery as well as in the penitentiary with life without for us to ever turn our heels. And they won't turn their heels. So now, what if it was, let's switch the mirror. Let's turn the mirror around. What if everybody was Hoover Crip in the beginning? Like, no, history has already done this. They turned into GCs. And nobody was with that. No, none of the Hoovers was with that program of them being GCs. This is why the fight happened between the Five Deuces and the rest of the Hoover sets. It was because Five Deuce wanted to stay GC. They wanted to be that. So what's wrong with us wanting to be HCG? We just a different tree on the branch. And that's where the respect is supposed to be established at, is that no tree, no branch on a tree is the same, but it's all connected to the same roots. So it's no way that what we're doing could be a problem unless people are petty and got prejudices that they are unafraid to admit, you see, because what this stems from is a prejudice that people are not admitting. People really, when you have not lived in Texas, 9 times out of 10, you won't like us. You hear me? You won't like us.
Why you say that?
Because we do things different. We do things different in Texas. There's a southern hospitality that's associated with being a Texas Crip. See, we go around and we shake hands. You know what shaking hands do? That make you love your brother. When you go around and you meet your brother and you shake his hand, you give him a hug, you lock seeds around his back, that means you love him. This is the part that they didn't understand. Well, we transformed. We transformed. See, Texas transformed into a greater state of Cripping where Crips are loved here.
How did y'all branch grow so many leaves? Like, how did y'all become, bigger as far as numbers wise?
Because you had Fort Worth. Fort Worth is the heart and soul of Hoover in Texas, period. Everybody will tell you that. That's the truth. They might call Houston, but no. We were Hoover when Houston was cliques. We was Hoover when everybody else was trying to figure out what they were going to be. We was already Hoover here in Fort Worth. And just do the math, I think the only other place that was on Hoover was Beaumont. Other than Fort Worth, that was on Hoover at the right time when it first started. With us, I can actually say that they run the timeline of longevity with us being Hoover in Fort Worth. It's Beaumont. Houston came a little later, but this ain't no disrespect to the H-Town. I got homies in the H-Town, they solid. I'm not disrespecting the Fidos, GCs, or the HCGs in H-Town. I love them. You know what I'm saying? I love Hoover, period. You know what I'm saying? I don't make no distinction between Fidos, GC, and HCG, because at the end of the day, Hoover is Hoover. And if it's a war between somebody that's not Hoover, they're not gonna ask you if you HCG or GC. They're not gonna ask you that. So this is all clap. This is where you see the narrative is being twisted rather than being controlled.
So can I ask, what is the difference outside of just the position of the letter? Like, what's the difference?
There's no difference. There's no difference. And this is people, with absolute power comes absolute corruption. And this is what you got to understand about people from California and people who are not from California. You got a lot of people who are sheeple and they feel like Cali's word is the last say about Crippin'. And that's not true. That's not true. Cali's word is not the last word. And when we say that Cali's word is the last word, we make ourselves fools and we put ourselves under their submission.
Yeah.
And I'm not doing that. I mean, I respect what y'all got going on. And I respect y'all as being the originators of it. But our program is our program down here. And what our program did, because, you know, people don't understand that the Crips are under one umbrella here. We are not. We don't operate like Cali operates. Cali, in Hoover, in California, Hoover, you know, it's not looking good. And I hate to say that, you know. And I asked the elders, y'all, please forgive me for being this way, but I asked y'all to stop Gumby. So y'all made me reach out to a higher level of information to shut him down, you know, on a higher level of reach to shut him down. I asked the elders, I went to them and said, hey, y'all need to stop Gumby for what he's doing because he's opening a faucet of bloodshed, and we don't need that. Because this is a whole, really a secretly COINTELPRO operation that could wipe Hoover out. You know, they already indicted Hoover in California and 6-0. Yeah. So, will the Texas Hoovers be stupid and be next and be put in a trick bag?
Hey.
No, we won't. And I'm here as the watchdog over that to make sure that we don't get put in a trick bag. I'm here to show that we can do business and we can get money and we can leave all the counterproductive stuff behind because it's just trash. That's what I'm pushing. And with this whole scenario as far as Gumby, I asked the elders to stop this man. I asked them, you even had Big Deal, you know, which they attempted. Big Deal got on here. Shout out to Big Deal. You know what I'm saying? My guy, for getting on here and speaking up and saying something that needed to be said a long time ago about what Gumby was doing. He said, Gumby, you don't speak on father's business. He said that. Shout out to Big Deal, real life, because he did something that was respectful. You know, he said, hey, man, y'all Fort Worth dudes, y'all need to get it together. We trying, bro. You hear me? That's going to take time. And then it's going to take a meeting of minds. But in the process, that's in the meantime, that's 5 Deuce business. Strictly when it comes to 5 Deuce. Not no person that's another set that's claiming they are in Hoover. But see, when you like that, you're a manipulator. You're a manipulator. You know what I'm saying? You manipulatively are trying to twist the narrative. Because see, for clap, what happens when all the brothers start smoking each other and shooting each other and doing drive-bys, and people from Texas go to shooting people from Cali, and Cali people go to shooting people from Texas. What happens then? From the mess that we won't take the responsibility and stop. Because this is mess that we as collective, and then it's really involved the Crips. You know, it's bigger than Hoover. Mm-hmm. You know, they trying to say, well, Hoover need to deal with this. No, I don't think so. I think this has gotten to a point to where it needs to be a vote amongst the Crips. If the Hoovers are still Crips, because see, in Texas, the Hoovers are still Crips here. We still are under the Crip umbrella here. So we are heard to Crip, the laws. We have heard to that. We push Hoover, but we push Hoover Crip. So it's a big difference. See, they're not pushing Crip there no more. So I'm confused. So I asked the big homies, this is a point where y'all need to step up and stop Gumby. If y'all really don't mean any harm, and it's already been a lot of harm done to Texas on Gumby's behalf, this is a time that we ask y'all as big brothers to step up. Hey, man, y'all need to stop Gumby. Y'all need to speak out because y'all know what Gumby is doing is not right. We never want to go Hoover against Hoover. If Hoover is Hoover over everything, then what Gumby is preaching is wrong. And if y'all are willing, y'all need to, this is the point where y'all need to, like y'all told me about step 2. This is what step 2 needs to take place at. Y'all need to get Gumby out of Texas. Gumby needs to go home to California. Mm-hmm. I'm being honest. You know, he's down here and he's whispering, you know, deception and divide.
I didn't know he was down here.
Yeah, he's down here in Houston. And, you know, these Houston brothers, you know, I'm not going to disrespect Houston, but they down there with that dude, you know, the dudes that's with him.
Yeah, okay.
I asked y'all, I got a question to you dudes that's with Gumby. Where do y'all stand? You know, because before Gumby came, the HCGs and the GCs was just fine. So is there a problem now? Is there a problem now that Gumby came? Y'all really need to figure out where y'all stand because we've been standing with y'all this whole time. HCG has. We've been standing with GCs. We don't make no distinction between GC and HCG. We don't do that. HCG never did that. We're not doing that now. And I'm not doing it. And I don't promote that. But the dudes that's with Gumby in Houston, some of them dudes, they promoting that. And I ask y'all G's to V y'all. I'm keeping it real. Everybody that's hanging with Gumby need to be V'd. Because Gumby done came down here on some foolishness that will make black people look real bad. How does it really look for Hoovers to be fighting each other? How does that look? And that's the energy y'all want? That's the program that y'all pushing? I'm trying to figure out what program are y'all pushing. Y'all talking about, well, y'all need to or else. There is no or else because we've already been this way for 38 plus years. You can't change that. The only thing you can do is accept it. And we not demanding that. We asking that respectfully. Hey, Fort Worth has earned their position in Hoover. Texas has earned its position in Hoover. Texas has earned its position as Crips. Don't question us. We never questioned y'all. So why is the question mark over our heads? And we never meant any disrespect. We never meant any harm. Has any Cali person been harmed to this day? Even with this mess going on, nobody's been harmed. Because Texas don't mean you guys, because I see in the comments a lot where these dudes is on here, they trolling me and we hate you, we want this and that. Hey, why y'all got so much hate in y'all blood? And I'm sitting here trying to be the author of a solution, fighting against the author of confusion.
Yeah. When you say stop Gumby, what does stop Gumby mean? Like, you mean just get them off the internet, get them out of Texas, have them put out a statement? Like, what does a stop Gumby look like?
Stop Gumby means change your narrative. Change your narrative, Gumby. You're supposed to be pushing peace. You're not supposed to be pushing bloodshed and divide.
Yeah.
And you are coming here in a mannerism that you did. You caused great divide. You didn't bring the Hoovers together.
Yeah.
You didn't. You made people hate each other.
And the respect has to come out of, you having the title OG, Gumby
Exactly.
having the title OG. There was a respect level that comes with that where these young kids will follow because, the OGs are the Bible. The Bible get passed down.
Gumby has been misleading the youth. He told, and this you might want to get this and put this on there. He spoke on her and he said, come to Cali and get shot at like us. I'm trying to figure out the diaspora of that when a person tell me or invite me to a situation where there's bloodshed and gunshots and shots being fired, Don't invite me to hell. Invite me to paradise. Invite me to utopia or cryptopia. Don't invite me to hell. And Gumby is inviting people to come to a place where there is no order. Hoover has no order in California, and they need to fix that. I'm calling them out. Hoovers, homies, big homies, y'all need to fix that because if there was some order, Gumby would have been shut down a long time ago, and I wouldn't be having to go back and forth with this guy about a subject that's mediocre because Hoover is Hoover. That is the law.
And I want you to go back to it as far as how is it in prison when it comes to this ACG, HGC situation?
We fight together.
Yeah, and then how does this situation fare for those, if you're in touch with anybody in prison, how does it fare for going back to the penitentiary system for those that's dealing with it within the penitentiary system? Yeah,
right.
They're the ones who really got to kind of fight these internet battles for y'all.
It's a situation now because you got heresy on both sides. You got the HCGs saying, nah, we don't mess with the GCs. And you got the GCs saying, nah, we don't mess with the HCGs. And Gumby started this. Instead of Gumby being a wise man and say, hey, man, y'all need to build a bridge and say y'all the same. And it don't matter about the letter arrangement. Y'all are Hoovers and y'all need to keep it tight like that. That was the message. And that was the narrative that Gumby should have been promoting, bridging the gaps. When you bridge the gaps, you say, hey, you a 9, I'm a 6, but guess what? We the same thing. you see. And he didn't get that. That was over his head, and that might shoot over a lot of brothers' heads right now, but the 9 and the 6 are the same.
You know, some people like anarchy over peace.
Right.
Peace times ain't too, it ain't good to, it ain't nice to look at. It ain't.
When you on demon time, you right. But when you on God's time, it's a difference, you see. Because see, a lot of people be on demon time, you know. And Gumby is on demon time. He said he's going to hell. He said he's going to hell. He admitted to everybody that he knows his final destination. I have a problem with that type of person trying to be a leader in my community. I have a problem with a person that says he's going to hell and you want to lead my young men, you want to lead the young men in a direction. If you saying that you going to hell, then who you leading and where you leading them to? I have a problem with that. And any Hoover in a right mind got a problem with that. Because at the end of the day, we're the children of the Black Panthers. You know,
Come on.
we are the children of the Black Panthers, and our responsibility is to rebuild, maintain, and protect and serve the community. That is the Crips' collective responsibility. Bloods, Gangster Disciples, and all these organizations. It is our job to protect our community. And if we cannot do that, we are failing at who we say we are.